welcome along to coverage of round 3 of the 2023 Gb3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. As you can tell from the view behind me, we have made our annual trip to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Yesterday evening, qualifying took place, which decided the grids for races 1 and 2 of the weekend. Let's have a catch up now with some of the highlights and speak to the top 3 drivers.
So, qualifying at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, one of the highlights of the year for many of the drivers, and jostling position and getting tyres up to temperature was the order of the first part of the session. You can see everyone weaving to get some tyre temperature in. A lot of the drivers also trying to find a buddy to tow along because of the long straights of Spa-Francorchamps makes a big difference to the lap times. We can see the Carlin car of Acosta Paris looking for a tow there on the back of one of the elite drivers, and then everyone starts getting into their flying laps. You can see the long run down to Eau Rouge, steeply downhill and climbing up. Of course, one of the most iconic corners and circuits in the world, and a great thing that the Gb3 Championship gets to race around here. We can then see John Bennett then flying up through Eau Rouge with his teammate closely in tow, and the Carlin duo had a good qualifying session. Some more jostling for position, and then the Douglas pair of Rashid and Kuharczyk using each other as a tow. Michael Shin had a bit of a moment on the exit of Malmedy, kicking up some dust and some gravel into the face of Souta Arau. It's decent qualifying for the High-Tech Pulse 8 team, as some more mistakes further down the field, but unfortunately the session was cut ever so slightly short due to the Chris Dittman racing car of Arthur Rojon coming to a stop on the Kemmel Straight, and that was the end of the session as everyone waited in the pits. But a good qualifying session, definitely one of the highlights of the year, and we're now looking forward to 3 great races around what should be an excellent circuit for these Gb3 cars.
Callum, our pole position cup winner from last year and your first 2 poles of the year this weekend, how does that feel?
I mean, it feels amazing. I think this year, it's been really, well, I mean, it's a very competitive grid. It's really tough to get pole position this year, and so yeah, to do it at a track like Spa, I mean, it couldn't be any better really. Especially it's kind of redemption from last year. We didn't have a great qualifying at all, so yeah, to come back here and grab double pole is unexpected, but no, I mean, brilliant result.
I was going to say, it was a point I was going to raise with this, that last year's pole qualifying at Spa was quite difficult. It must be great to amend that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the guys have worked flat out, and I can't thank them enough. We just got better and better every session, and really happy to come out on top. I don't really know what happened at the red flag, so I guess a little bit of luck on my side, but either way I think we would have been on for a very good position, so over the moon.
You've got the slightly unusual task this weekend. The driver starting on pole position tends to punch a hole in the air for the drivers behind him. How are you going to counter that in the race tomorrow?
Look, I mean, we'll see what we can do. Either way, I think, again, just bag some points and we'll see where we end up. But, I think at the end of the day, starting on pole is probably more difficult than other places, but we'll give it our best shot either way.
You won a race on the road here last year, and of course that was taken away with a bit of confusion at the end of the race. A perfect chance to make more amends as well tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, yeah, as you said, it's more redemption from last year, so we'll give it our all.
Good luck, Callum. We'll see how you do tomorrow.
Thank you.
Result of the season, and what a place to do it.
Yeah, obviously it's nice to get P2. I think a little bit disappointed that we missed out on pole. I think definitely the pace was really, really strong all the way through practice and then in qualifying as well. And then unfortunately I got traffic on my best lap, which made my life a little bit difficult. But yeah, I think definitely, like I said before, I think if there's any track where you don't want to start on pole, it's probably here. So I think, ultimately I'm still really happy with second.
I was going to say, you're in perfect prime position to take advantage of the hole in the air that Callum's going to punch for you in that first lap. What are you planning on doing on the first lap tomorrow?
I think you can't really plan it. I just have to take it as it comes. Do my best to get a good start and get it going right out of turn 1, and see what happens from there. Let's
carry on looking at the positives, because the results continue to improve in Gb3, your qualifying results especially, and your race results as well. So that's a very promising sign for the rest of the year, no matter what happens this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely I knew that even though we struggled a little bit in round 1, I knew that eventually the pace would be back to where I know it should be. It was only kind of a matter of time of putting everything together, and I think we started to do that in Silverstone, but got a little bit unlucky, and then this weekend I think it's come together a little bit more. So hopefully we can get some good results in the races.
Well, thank you, Alex. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mackenzie, I know that P3 is your best result of the season so far, but something tells me you're not quite so happy with that one.
Not quite, yeah. It's a brilliant result, second and third in the races, which around here is possibly better than pole, so that's a real positive side. But yeah, I'm not happy because on my final push lap I did, a lap that was at least 3 tenths faster than pole. but it was disallowed because of the red flag. I didn't see the red flag. I finished the lap and then it came out. So yeah, it's annoying because I know that we have the pace to be right at the front, but it's good that we're starting up there, which in the first 2 rounds we haven't been. So we really have to take the positives, but yeah, not quite satisfied with the final outcome.
As you mentioned, P3 on the grid round here, maybe not that big a disadvantage after all.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen historically P3 and sometimes P4 are probably the best places to start. So I'm just going to aim to get a good start, get a good run out of first corner, up Eau Rouge, and hopefully I'll be in the lead by Les Combes. That's the hope. But yeah, the racing is so hectic around here that it didn't really make any difference me being on pole and me being P3, because you can win from anywhere around here, really, because the toe is so powerful and the straights are so long. So there's plenty of scope to make a move. So I'll be going for it, full guns blazing tomorrow, and hoping for a good result.
You got your best results of the year here last year, so something about the circuit obviously suits you. What is that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not really sure what it is. I really like coming here. Every time that we come here to test or for racing, I really enjoy it. And yeah, I guess it suits my driving style, whether it's the low aero, whether it's the sweeping corners, whatever it is. But yeah, it's a real driver circuit and one that I'm very privileged to drive around, and I usually go well on here. So yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
Well, thanks, Mackenzie, and we look forward to seeing how you get on tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, the cars are ready to go, and let's get racing underway. It's Piers Pry here in the commentary box for you this weekend, and I'm glad to be joined by former Gb3 racer and last year's Gb4 championship contender, Max Maserati. Max, great to have you in the box.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and obviously a big hello to everyone who's watching at home, at work, wherever you can sneakily watch the Gb3 championship.
Right, thanks for having us, Max. We'll just quickly run you through the grid, shall we? It was an interesting qualifying, but Callum Voisin, one of our main championship rivals, was in pole position, closely followed by Alex Dunn in second place, Mackenzie Cresswell with a strong qualifying in third, Timmett Kuharczyk in fourth, David Morales with a strong qualifying leading the JHR development trio, Matthew Rees in fifth, Christodoulou 6th and 7th, Esterson 8th, Gerard Sheen 9th, Michael Shin 10th, Suter Arau 11th, 12th was John Bennett, 13th Edward Pearson, 14th Joseph Loke, 15th Costa Taparis, 16th James Headley, 17th Jared Waberski, 8th Ayato Iwasaki, 19th Lucas Styko, 20th Noah Ping, 21st Artur Rojon, 22nd Zach Taylor, 23rd Daniel Mavlyatov, and the final row of the grid, 24th Oliver Stewart and Sean Rashid in 25th. Now, some interesting results in qualifying there, Max. Of course, a strong qualifying from Callum Voisin. We know he's been strong at the first few rounds, right up there in the championship. But also, our championship leader, Joseph Loke, all the way down the grid in 14th position. It's going to be tricky for him to come through the field, but potentially easier around here than many other places.
Yeah, this would be the circuit where if you could have a joker qualifying round, it would have been this one. It's just got so many long, big straights that if you can get a run on a car, you actually have a chance of passing them, because the dirty air won't be as an effect when you have those big, big straights.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a unique circuit, this Spa-Francorchamps, in the terms of world circuits, but also for the Gb3 Championship. And it's great that we come here, one of the most famous circuits in the world, and also a Formula 1 circuit. Great experience for the drivers.
It's a brilliant experience from the drivers, which I think is shown in the FIA3 race today with Browning and Sullivan 1-2.
Yes.
It just really shows that Gb3 produces the drivers in this championship that will then go on to do great things after that, and coming to Spa is a very big learning tool to help progress that.
Yes, talking of Browning, of course, our last year's Gb3 champion. You mentioned he was second in qualifying, or the last practice session for the FIA3 championship, and of course the season before, O'Sullivan coming first. But Browning and the High-Tech Pulse 8 team last year were almost imperious here. They were very, very fast, and second on the grid for Alex Dunn. He'll be pretty happy with that. He said he got blocked on one of his fast laps, so potentially he'll be one for the win as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be his best chance. Run up to Les Combes on the first lap. This will be his best opportunity to take the lead and then try and pull some kind of gap in the middle sector to hope that Callum doesn't come back at him, but it's really hard to here at Spa.
Yeah, I don't think I can call a winner in this one. It's anyone in the top 5, 6, 7 positions potentially, and we mentioned even Mackenzie Cresswell mentioned in that interview with Richard Randall that he's looking to potentially be in the lead by the time they get to Les Combes, which is a long run down from La Source, flat out through Eau Rouge, even on the first lap, Max.
Yeah, even on the first lap, it's very easy flat. As well, you get effectively 2 warm-up laps, and it's very, very long lap. So it really gives even the drivers who aren't as experienced, who aren't as confident in getting heat in the tyres, a longer time to actually be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Heating the tyres is very important. Looks like a nice weekend here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Looks like the track temperature 29 degrees, a lovely balmy 19 degrees air temperature. Green flag at the back, lights are on, and we are away. It looks like a good start from pole position for Callum Voisin. Initially, Alex Dunn comes across to defend from Mackenzie Cresswell. Cresswell on the inside with Kuharczyk looking to make advantage. Leading through the first corner is Voisin, and then we're 3, 4, 5 wide towards the back of the field. So far, everyone getting through La Source, all unscathed. We can see there, that is Mackenzie Cresswell right underneath the rear wing of Alex Dunn. Not going to make a move here, and everyone just jostling for position. That's Sousa around side by side with James Headley further down the field as well. Going side by side through Radion and Eau Rouge on the first lap. Everyone just about making it through as far as I can see, and now the long run to Les Combes. A clean start, Max.
It seems that way, and it looks like we just saw Dunn making the move here. Is it going to be long enough to get fully alongside and ahead? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Campbell's laying on the brakes.
Not quite. As Mackenzie Cresswell looks up the inside, unfortunately spinning around, he's going to be right in the middle of the pack. Can everyone avoid him? Nicely done by the rest of the grid, because Mackenzie Cresswell, oh, and there's a fight. I think that is the Douglas car. Oh, we've got lots of cars off in the background. That's the number 3 of Noah Ping involved there. That's is that a Stewart or is Saki? I can't quite see as well. It looks like we're going to have a safety car. Yep, safety car. We're on board with that. So as much as turn 1 and 2 were pretty event-free, we had some big drama at Les Combes, a lot of cars out, but still, as we were at the front of the field, Voisin. It says that Dunn's ahead, but I think that was just the sector. It's Voisin from Dunn currently. Unfortunately, Cresswell getting involved with that incident. He'll be bitterly disappointed with that. We do race up until the safety car board, so the drivers will probably still be green flag for now that we're looking at, so still can jockey for position. Those marshals already attending to those vehicles at Les Combes, but Kuharczyk now promoted to 3rd place, and David Morales up into 4th place. This is the strongest showing he's had this year by quite some margin.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I mean, the top 10 shuffle has been massive for any kind of championship implications. There's Joseph Loke back into the top 10. Gerard is in the top 10 as well, which is really great showing with the hill speed.
And side by side, 2 cars going up side by side towards Blanchimont. Who's that on the outside? Didn't quite catch them as they went through there. Side by side through Blanchimont is definitely a sketchy move. We saw Max Verstappen do that a few years ago in Formula 1. We're now still racing at this point, and I think that's Joseph Lote looking to make advantages. I think that might be Esterson going up the inside of probably John Bennett in the Carlin car. Safety cars on the exit of La Source at the first corner, so imagine the safety car boards are out. Yes, they are. So 1 full race of flying lap racing so far. We're going to take safety car and have a look at the review. So it started, by the looks of it, with Mackenzie Cresswell looking at the inside of Dunn, but getting a bit too late there, which meant that he dragged the brakes into the corner, and then that is, I think that's either Styko or number, I can't quite read the number, Styko or of course Rashid at the back. And you've got the 99 there, also of Daniel Mavliatov, and the number 5 coming through the pits, Matthew Rees. There must have been a front wing damage potentially from that issue coming across Les Combes. That'd be bitterly disappointing for him. He's had a really difficult start to the season, probably below his expectations, I would have recommended, sort of suggest.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to know what happened there, because it looked like everyone did a really great job avoiding Cresswell from the shot until you look back, where there must have been some kind of congestion that caused loads of the cars to just run into each other or touch or something.
Well, let's have a look at where the grid, all those drivers that stopped were on the grid. So from qualifying, because we know that potentially Styko and Rashid, well, it looks like Styko and Rashid are probably both out so far. Where are we? Let's have a look at the live timing. Yeah. So Rashid definitely was involved. Artur Rojan, unfortunately, Noah Ping, and of course we saw Daniel Mavliatov. In the pits is Matthew Rees, and potentially on pit exit is Zach Taylor as well for the Chris Dittman Racing team, as we can see those cars getting removed there. Looks like, as far as we're aware, all of the drivers are absolutely A-OK, which is of course the main thing. They'll be disappointed, but physically okay. A nice long lap, 7 kilometres around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, so we might even potentially get going this lap if the safety car goes slow enough, and there is Artur Rojan's car being pulled out of the way.
Yeah, it's so long, and obviously under safety car speeds, it's one safety car lap could be if a race lap is 2 minutes, this is going to be at least 5-6 minutes or so.
Like 4.5 miles or something, or whatever it is. And again, only a 9-lap race, which sounds pretty short, doesn't it? But when you're doing 4.5 laps per, but 4.5 miles per lap, it definitely adds up. But it's a unique place to be. These cars, I remember from when I raced in GB3 in the 2020 season. Max, you raced in 2020 and 2021 in the GB3 Championship. These cars really come alive in the faster circuits. Like, I remember going to Silverstone for the first time, and I'd driven Silverstone in other cars before the GB3 car, and I didn't really get it. I was like, what's all the hype about? And then I drove it in a GB3 car and went, that's why that everyone raves about it. And I imagine Spa is exactly the same. And you have had the fortune and privilege of having to driven one of these GB3 cars around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, haven't you?
Yeah, and I had the exact same experience as you did in terms of like circuits like Silverstone, where I was very much just like, I don't really get what the fuss is. And then I did it in the GB3, and I was like, wow, this is why all the F1 drivers go on about it. And Spa is just magical from the moment you show up. You show up and you just walk the circuit, and it's a long walk. You know, this is a 3-hour time commitment thing to walk this circuit, plus all the photo opportunities there are of Eau Rouge, and you get to Lake Om and you look down to where the actual paddock is, and you can't believe you just walked that distance.
Yeah.
You know, it's an insane circuit to walk around.
Well,
absolutely stunning.
Well, talk to me a little bit about some of the elevation change, because it's easy to say in the screen, and we'll see in the track guide later on today, 101 meters apparently elevation change from the highest to the lowest point, which is a long way up and down to go. But just talk to us when you're actually at the circuit. The cameras don't really do it justice, do they, Max?
No, they really don't. Starting off at turn 1, again, this is something I never really knew until I actually went to Spa, but going down to Eau Rouge, it is going down. It's a massive downhill slope before it then shoots back up again, which only exaggerates the steepness of Eau Rouge. And especially when you're traveling down there, well over 100 miles an hour, these cars will be doing at that point. And you know you've got to be flat through it. The first time you see it, it's a bit of a nervy moment. You're not sure how it's going to go. You have to take a lot of the curb on the left, just skim the one on the right, and then depending on actually the Radalon curve at the top, how much you take of that will actually be a very big difference in kilometers an hour before you get down to Lake Om. It's very, very important to have your line perfect, even though it is easy flat.
Yeah, because it's not just about, I suppose the line is not just about scrubbing, but it's also how much the car bottoms out, isn't it? Because these cars run so low. They've got the plank in the middle of the car, which is there to stop the car rubbing on the ground, but also to protect the bottom of the chassis. But you hit that curb wrong. Is that what causes the cars to slow down a little bit? If you just
a little bit, if you grind a bit, if it bottoms out, then it will just slow down enough. That if you are in a turn, you're planning to, as we saw with Dunn and with Voisin into turn 1. Pass before you get to the braking zone, or at least have enough of the car ahead that you can really make it work. That could be the difference.
It could be the difference. And we're going to see a lot of slipstreaming action when we saw it all the way up to Lecumbe for the first time. And unfortunately, as much as Mackenzie Cresswell got alongside, it caused the end of his race, or the end of his at least the end of his podium hopes for this race. We're going to see a lot of slipstream, and I've seen on social media in years gone by, even in the GB3 Championship, some bump drafting up the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, it has happened before. I think it was Thomas Randall doing it to Enem Ahmed, and the first name now doing supercars in Australia, so another big name coming from GB3.
Yeah.
I don't know if the new make of car you'd really want to do that, but if you can get it right on the nose box, you can do a little bit, but I think they'll be more trying to focus on just getting ahead without the damage.
Yeah, exactly.
But this middle sector we see here, a GB3 car with that level of downforce, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, are we flat through Pouhon or not quite?
In the old car we weren't. It was a half lift. I believe it will still be a similar. I believe they'll have to have a lift just to get the front end. Yeah. I don't think it will be much.
Yeah. Of course, Pouhon, a very fast corner, and it's amazing that we in the GB3 Championship get to visit amazing places like this. We're going to Zandvoort later on this year as well. Zandvoort will be another Formula 1 circuit. And that will be 3 circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. And it looks like the lights have gone out on the safety car, so we're going racing once again. But it's great to be at these international circuits. It really is an international series in terms of drivers. I mean, we've got loads of different nations, 13 countries, or drivers from 13 countries entered in the GB3 Championship this year. And we're visiting some of the best circuits in the world. But we can now see Callum Voisin just weaving back in the pack up. Hopefully, he's probably hoping that everyone will start to trip over themselves once he goes green to give himself as much of a lead as possible. But it's going to be hard for him to defend this lead on the next lap, isn't it, from Alex Dunn behind?
Oh, this is going to be probably the toughest moment of his race, because he has 2 straights now to defend from, not just the one. So for Voisin to hang on here, he's going to have to try and pull everything out. Maybe he'll try and do this strategically and even let Dunn go in a place where he knows he can come back at him.
Here we go. Looks like Callum Voisin's gone quite early. Dunn and Kuharczyk have followed him. Morales in 4th place with a little gap. This is now where the action starts to happen. You cannot overtake until the start-finish line. But now Callum Voisin already weaving left and right. They call it, was it dragon tailing or dragoning in the Indy 500, but not allowed to weave aggressively in, of course, any FIA sanctioned race. So he'll have to be careful with that. We've already seen some moves further down the field. That looks like the Fortec car in the white, blue and red of Pearson going up the inside of La Source. Pearson would have been going up the inside of Headley, but now Voisin climbs steeply up Eau Rouge and Radion, closely followed by, of course, Dunn and Kuharczyk. Morales is going to be under pressure from Christodoulou as well. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, here we go. Pearson is now under pressure from Pearson's under pressure from Cresswell, it must be now, and here we go. Dunn looking to the outside, hasn't actually managed to get an overlap, cuts to the inside, a late manoeuvre. That's a great move, but Voisin keeping her around the outside just about. He's going to have to check up in the middle of Les Combes. We go to Malmedy now, which is again a tricky corner. Someone going through the, I think that's the road in carling car of Costa to Paris, going straight over in the background. We now head steeply downhill towards Rivage or Bruxelles, depending on which track map you look at. And there's someone off in the background as well. That is a red car potentially. Must be Zach Taylor just dropping off the exit of Malmedy, and he's carrying on, but it looks like a good middle sector from Callum Voisin's pulling out a bit of a gap, and also Dunn is gapping Kuharczyk as well, so there's still a two-way fight for 4th and 5th place between Morales and Christodoulou, and then it's nose to tail, one car after another for the rest of the field, showing that the tow around this long circuit is keeping all of these cars together.
I mean, just wow from both Dunn and Voisin there. Really great driving from the both of them to not actually touch through that right left. It would have been so easy to lock a wheel, just turn in a little bit too early to give, you know, we've seen it with Rosberg and Hamilton in 2014, just a front wing to, you know, rear left puncture. So easy to make contact.
Here we go, let's do a replay. This is where Dunn dies up the inside of Voisin. Voisin gives him just enough room, but Dunn not having enough of an overlap. As we can see some cars very, very close in this slipstream, further back down the field. A nice stationary camera that shows the speed of these cars going up towards Blanchimont. But Voisin having gapped with a purple middle sector, almost 7/10 faster in the middle sector than Dunn alone, and way faster than anyone else. He's the only driver in the 1 minute in the middle sector. The next fastest driver was Christodoulou, who did a 1 minute 1.0, so half a second, but then responding to that with 2.5 tenths faster than Voisin was Dunn in the final sector. So this race is not done yet for the lead. That is Headley going up the inside of Taparis into La Source, the hairpin that drops into the apex and then opens out on the exit. Of course, all of the runoffs and gravel traps have been reprofiled in the last year or so at Spa-Francorchamps, and I must say the circuit does look excellent and is of course safer than it has ever been.
Yeah, and I think we can really see the to and throwing of the dirty air here. As soon as we're in these, look, here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again. So Dunn looking outside this time with a better run up towards Les Combes. Is he going to have an overlap? Side by side they go, as we see Morales still looking on the back of Kuharczyk, and also that is Max Esterson going side by side with Bennett through Les Combes. They've got through this time, closely followed by Jared Boberski. Jared Boberski's had a great run through the field. 10th, he was on the grid quite far down. He's gone up 7 positions to 10th now, right on the back of his teammate. So a great race for Boberski. The front two is still fighting it out. Sector 1 slightly faster from Dunn, although of course we saw that Voisin actually managed to hold the lead. The timing tower on the left hand side only showing what happened on the sector that's just before the braking zone of Les Combes. So Kuharczyk now we're looking at in that blue Douglas Motorsport car, actually in a bit of a gap of his own. He's going to be hoping that these two in front start fighting it out so he can join that battle once again. How much is the tow? How far back are you looking for the tow? Are we talking half a second before you're in the tow? A second?
I think it's probably just under a second, probably around 7/10. I think you'll get at least like pulled up to someone.
Yeah, that's good.
But you can see through the middle sector again, Voisin starts to pull out a bit of a gap. It's the same half a second as we had the last lap. Dunn just needs to stay in that half a second window to him to have a chance. I think interestingly, Dunn decided to use his head there into Lake and not really try and commit to this over the outside move that could have ended in contact. Very smart from Dunn, and look, now he's run the back of him again. He knows he's going to have another chance in this race.
Is Dunn going to have a look up the inside of the bus stop chicane? No, he is not, but in the background, the number 30, I couldn't quite see the catch number, there must have been what number is that? It's the white car. Gerard Shee in the hill speed car, of course it is, right on the back of Chris Dedulu there. He's going to have a look and move. It looks like she's actually having a look at the inside of La Source. Not many people choosing to do a manoeuvre into La Source. They're waiting for the long run down the straight, up after, of course, up through the Kemmel Straight after Eau Rouge, because that is the main place of overtaking. We're looking again. Dunn is well placed for another attack on the lead with Voisin. Kuharczyk, despite the strong middle sector, the last lap dropping off again in the final sector. But here we go, a great run, very, very early on the back of Callum Voisin this time. I reckon he might be able to get past this time before the braking zone if that high-tech Pulse 8 car has enough straight line speed. Squeezing, giving Voisin no room, but Voisin sending it in very, very late, just about making it through, but that is taking the lead. Alex Dunn for the first time this weekend has taken the lead and kept it.
Brilliant racing with the pair of them there. They were so close to contact, but they gave each other respect. Dunn very, very strategically moved right back to the left to give himself the best line he could through the right, having Voisin very compromised on that inside line. Voisin obviously deciding not to go in too heavy into the corner, and then slotted in behind. Again, this race is far from over, and we can't rule out Kuharczyk, who's right behind in third, and within that gap to make a move at some point.
Yeah, Kuharczyk still in third. The gaps are opening out ever so slightly, so there's a bit of a gap between most of the top 10, but it's still very close. I mean, it's 5.9 seconds down to 10th place to Jared Boberski, so that's only half a second per car on average between all the drivers. Let's have a look at the replay. Yes, so Max, talk us through this.
As you can see, he got the good enough run here, got to the outside, gave that little bit of a squeeze before moving right back to give himself the best line, and really hold Voisin pinned on the inside to not be able to carry any momentum.
That's a really good driving there, racecraft from Dunn, giving Voisin the squeeze. He knew he was ahead. He pushed Voisin down to the inside of the road to narrow his line into Les Combes, and then darted back to the outside so he could give himself the best run through Les Combes, and that's what helped him keep the place. But Voisin's actually now falling into the clutches of Kuharczyk, I would say.
He is. He has dropped back just a little bit. He's still in that 7/10 window, so we'll see if he can pull in from here, but he's got to worry more about Kuharczyk, who's right behind him now. Also looking at Gerard, who's got the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, Gerard Shee, actually you said that, but Dunn's just taking it off him. Dunn running away with it at the front of the field, fastest middle and final sector, putting that gap to 0.8 of a second. He's almost broken the toe from Voisin now.
I think he has. I think he's done enough. I don't think Voisin will be able to have a go back at him here.
No, Voisin's a bit far back, and he's now going to be under pressure from Timek Kuharczyk in that blue Douglas Motorsport car. Great to see Kuharczyk being fast once again. He's been one of the I suppose, surprise of the season so far. I don't know if it's a surprise for him, but you know, he's come fairly unknown in the UK. He's got experience in other championships, and Douglas have had a difficult couple of years, but great to see them right up there again this year. And Kuharczyk putting in consistently fast results in qualifying in the races, and we see him pushing hard. And we saw it in the bus stop that the final corner, that last lap, he was sliding around, hustling the car, trying to get onto the back of Voisin, and he's managed to break the toe also on his rear ends to Morales and Chris Dedulu.
Yeah, well, I would say for the first two races of the season, he's been there. We've all expected him through the practice times to have always been at the front, and due to bad luck or some kind of other unforeseen event, he hasn't really got those results that we expected him to from his pace in the practice, and it's so great to finally see him delivering on that and being the top three in this race.
Yeah, he's been so fast this year. You can see some of the cars actually running a little bit wide on the exit Pouhon there. It just looks like they're almost bottoming out on that curb.
A little bit. They will right on the exit of it, but it won't be too bad. I think these cars have enough downforce, as we can see, so they'll have a little bounce, but they'll just keep going. Yeah,
there's so much downforce in these cars, and we'll be completely trimmed out on the aerodynamics. Of course, in these cars, they have a number of things they can change. We see a car going off in the background, two wheels in the gravel. Looks like that car carried on. I didn't quite catch who that was, but these cars, there's a number of things the drivers can change on these cars. They can change the ride height, tracking, cambers and caster, so the geometric changes of the tyres and the suspension, but also the front and rear wings, which are the main things which affect how the car handles to the downforce and the top speed. Are we going to be completely trimmed out this weekend, do you reckon, Max?
Oh, for sure. They run setups here that they'll never run anywhere else around any other circuit, and what a lot of the teams do, if they can't actually make it here to Spa, they'll go to a place like Silverstone and run the sparse out to get the drivers used to that low downforce level.
Yeah, I think that might have potentially been Michael Shin going wide at the exit there. I didn't quite catch the number, but he's lost a bit of time with that. But yeah, the toe has certainly been broken by our leader Alex Dunn. He set the fastest lap of the race. He's pulling away with another purple section in the middle section of that last lap. He's running away with this, but we're definitely not done in the fight for the final podium positions. Let's have a look down the field. So let's do a bit of a rundown. It's the final lap now. So as we go through, it's Dunn from Voisin, Kuharczyk, Morales, Christodoulou, Shi, Shin, Bennett, Esterson and Wilberski so far, with Headley also coming up through the field. He had a disappointing qualifying in his own regard, having been right up there in the championship. He's managed to make his way through, especially after all that drama on the first few laps. Anyone else that stands out having had a good race so far this race, Max, for you?
Well, I'd definitely say Gerard, in that hill speed, seeing them so far up, getting back to where they should be right at the front there, that's really, really great to see.
Yeah.
Was the Chinese F4 champion,
of course.
So seeing him progress and really getting up to speed with the car is great. David Morales in the JHR again, really great to see him right at the front. And I'd probably say Nico Christodoulou as well.
Yeah.
He's always been about thereabouts, in that mix. And it's great to see him getting this top 5 in the feature race after his reverse grid podium, I think, in the last.
Yeah, Christodoulou obviously getting more and more confident. Second-year driver once again. He did most of the rounds last season. I think we're coming onto the final straight. No, doesn't look like there's going to be any manoeuvres for any changes of position in the top 5 or 6 positions. But let's have a look further down the field to see if anyone else is nice and close. That is Headley still fighting away there with Cresswell and Wilberski. Cresswell has done well to recover back to 12th place after falling right down to the back of the field, but he will be bitterly disappointed with that.
Yeah, he will. This was definitely where he felt he could have probably got a really good result after a really great qualifying, and he knows he's going to be up against now in race 2 with the pressure to do that in the next race.
Yeah, but as we watch the race leader Alex Dunn take victory at Spa-Francorchamps, a dominant victory after fighting hard with Callum Voisin. Voisin taking second place, he'll be happy with that, disappointed to lose the lead, and Kuharczyk with a well-earned third place. Morales in 4th, Christodoulou 5th, Gerard Shi 6th, Michael Shin 7th, John Bennett 8th, Max Esterson 9th, and rounding out the top 10 with a great drive, Jared Wilberski. That's an excellent start to the weekend. Not too much drama after the first lap. We managed to get through La Source and Eau Rouge absolutely fine, but then a bit of tangling and tussling into of course, that section after the Kemmel Straight meant that we lost some of the drivers, and a lot of them will be disappointed not to have finished their first race either this year or ever at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. But it's setting us up for a good weekend of racing. I'm looking forward to it the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I really am as well. Bearing in mind these cars don't have DRS like we see in the likes of FIF3 and FIF2, which always produces good racing here, and F1. These cars don't have the DRS advantage to use on the straights. They've really got to use just the pure slipstream, but it's very much pure racing, this championship.
So let's have a look at the provisional results now. So Alex Dunn wins by 1.7 seconds from Callum Voisin. We've got Kuharczyk in 3rd, Morales 4th, Nico Christodoulou 5th, Gerard Shi 6th, Michael Shin 7th, John Bennett 8th, Max Esterson 9th, and another Fortec car, Jared Wilberski in 10th. We then have a Mackenzie Cresswell after that disappointing start in 11th, then James Headley in 12th, Joseph Loke will be disappointed with 13th, Costa de Paris 14th, 15th for Edward Pearson, Suter around 16th, Lucas Styko 17th, Ayoto Iwasaki in 18th, and then the last running driver on the lead lap was Oliver Stewart in 19th place. Let's have a quick review of the race. So we had a strong start there at the front of the field from Mackenzie Cresswell. Voisin looked like he got away from the front of the field. Just about staying in second place was Alex Dunn. We had someone stalling at the back of the field as well, but fighting all the way through, and then we had that mistake from Mackenzie Cresswell. Everyone did very well to avoid. Kuharczyk having to take aggressive evasive action, and then some drivers stopping. Unfortunately, we didn't see how that started, but took out about 3 or 4 drivers. We then had the short safety car period for 2 laps, so ended up with 7 racing laps. The marshalling team at Spa-Francorchamps doing excellently to get the circuit cleared nice and quickly so we could go racing. And then once the safety car was over, we were then treated to an excellent race for the front of the field, as we saw Alex Dunn a number of times trying to make his way past Callum Voisin, and eventually succeeding in doing that. We see, this was the recovery team doing well to get all those cars recovered, and it was It was a bit of a break in the race, an opportunity for the drivers to sort of take stock after the start and then see where they found themselves. That was the number 18 of Arthur Rojon, who was involved in that incident at Les Combes as well. We then had Matthew Rees, unfortunately, coming through the pit lane. We didn't see exactly why that was. We think it was potentially for a front wing damage, but disappointing there as we now see the drivers coming in to the pit lane, taking up the first 3 positions. So that is our winner, Alex Dunn, pulling in for the High-Tech Pulse 8. High-Tech Pulse 8, notoriously good at this circuit in the Gb3 Championship. Callum Voisin in second place, you can see him there, just sitting. He'll be thinking about, right, how am I going to overcome the pace of the High-Tech Pulse 8 car of Alex Dunn from that one in the next one. And Timit Kuharczyk will be pretty happy with third place, but I'm sure he'll be pushing on because he was pushing hard. And you can see how happy Alex Dunn is with that. He knew he had the pace in the car. He said in qualifying he was blocked in his fastest lap and potentially should have had pole. And he's clearly driving very well. It's been a good confidence boost for him this season. We know he's had great pace, but obviously, actually, so far this season, hasn't won a race quite yet. So his first race in the Gb3 Championship, it'll be good for him to bring that home for the team. Kuharczyk there, you can see in the foreground, chatting to his team, shaking his head, so clearly not happy about something. Maybe it was him having to avoid the spinning car of Mackenzie Cresswell. What are the drivers thinking about now after the race? Are they already thinking ahead to the next race?
Yeah, they are. Voisin definitely will be thinking, right, what can I be telling the team? What do I need out of this car to be able to chase Dunn in the next one? And Dunn will just be...
Do you want to do yours?
Alex, you encroaching down by the board.
Okay, cool. Hang on. Yeah, Alex, congratulations. Brilliant victory, and what a move to take the lead.
Yeah, you know, I'm over the moon to finally be back to where we should be. You know, yeah, I'm really, really happy.
It was an interrupted race with the safety car, but you were able to obviously get your head down and concentrate on getting that win.
Yeah, I think, you know, the safety car I think helped me slightly, you know, kind of helped me regroup and get a little bit closer to Callum. I think he put a little bit of a gap on lap 1, so the safety car kind of brought us back together. And then from then on, you know, I kind of, every time I was trying to make a move, but it was quite difficult, I wasn't able to clear him before the braking zone. And then on the last lap I got a really good run out of turn 1 and managed to get the move done, so I'm really happy.
Well done. Callum, great second position. Obviously just weren't able to hold Alex off. He got a great run out of La Source and got you at the end of the straight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, congrats to him. He did a brilliant job. Yeah, no, P2 still good points and a good result, which is what we're here for. So, you know, quite happy. I made a few too many mistakes to win this race, but no, apart from that, it's still a good result.
Well done. That's great, and we'll just get to. Congratulations, third place. They were just out of the reach. You just weren't able to pull them back in.
Yeah, I think good result. We were pretty slow on the straight. Yeah, we have to look for it. And yeah, hope for more in race 2.
You seem to be able to sort of close Callum down sort of midway through the race, but he was able to gap you again. Is that just the speed on the straights?
Yeah, I think so. In the second sector, we were usually faster than everyone else. So in like the twisty part, we were pretty fast, but then we were missing a bit of speed in straights. Yeah, I think that's why I couldn't close enough top 2 to get them past. But yeah, I think good result, first podium of the year, and yeah, looking forward.
Got a gap now to race 2, so do you think there's some changes to be made to help you get that straight line speed back?
We'll see. I think on the first lap I had a bit of a moment after a guy in front of me spun, and I had to went through the curb. Maybe I damaged the floor or something. We'll have a look. And yeah, I think if we find a bit more speed on the straights, we can fight for the win.
Congratulations, I'll let you go to the podium.
Thank you.
Do you reckon tyre conservation and tyre saving is something that the drivers will be thinking about, or is it pretty much hell for leather?
Yeah, I don't really think so. I think what they'll do is they'll run a side of tyres for each of the races they've qualified best on. Maybe if you know you're going to be on like pole of the reverse grid race, you'll go, right, well, we'll just save a whole set and run that to give us the best chance. But normally you're just, you know, you want to make the most of what you can over the course of the whole weekend, not just one race.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the drivers at the back of the field will often save that new set of tyres for the reverse grid, because that's the one great thing about this Gb3 Championship is we have 2 races from qualifying. So the fastest lap from qualifying will set the grid for this race, which you've just seen. Second fastest lap from qualifying will set the grid for the race later on, which is coming at UK time about 4:30 in Spa Francorchamps. That'll be 5:30 approximately. So make sure you're on the stream about 20 minutes before then this afternoon, everyone who's watching. But that reverse grid is a great opportunity for a lot of the drivers who potentially haven't got the outright pace at this stage of the season to have a good race at the front of the field, and also gives an opportunity for the faster drivers to overtake and make their way through and build those skills that they will need in overtaking in single-seater slicks and wings for later on in their racing career.
Yeah, exactly. This is the only championship to say that, like, before you get high up on the ladder, that doesn't have a push-to-pass or a DRS system. So with that in mind, all overtakes have to be perfectly pure and legitimate. So you're going to be learning about how to put people in positions where you can get runs on them, which is really hard to do with the dirty air. And we were watching it here at Spa with the way Dunn and Voisin were battling it out, with the way other drivers in the field were battling it out, and how they had to use that racecraft to stay ahead or make moves.
Yeah, great race for the first race of the weekend. Hopefully more exciting action coming on in the race that comes, second race of the weekend, which comes this afternoon, as I just mentioned, about 4:30 UK time. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.
Podium presentation for race 1 of the Gb3, the British Formula 3 Championship. In third position, troisième place, Timek Koszacik from Poland. In second place, deuxième position, Callum Voisin. And the race 1 winner, with a great overtaking on the outside, Alex Dunn. Congratulations. Bravo Alex Dunn qui s'impose. On va écouter l'hymne irlandais. Congratulations to Alex Dunn, Callum Voisin and Timek Koszacik. Voilà, félicitations au podium de cette première course du week-end pour le Gb3 Championship. On remet les trophées au top 3. Victoire, on le rappelle, d'Alex Dunn devant Callum Voisin et Timek Koszacik. Et on retrouvera ces pilotes tout à l'heure. Alors que voilà qui débute la séance d'essais libres. Numéro 2 pour les Ford Fiesta et les Mazda MX-5. On les voit passer devant nous. Séance d'essais libres, on le rappelle. Hein, pour continuer évidemment de se mettre en jambe sur ce circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Some pictures. Et on a les bouteilles de champagne pour les pilotes qui vont refuser. Il faut revenir dans la voiture tout à l'heure, bien sûr. Congratulations, guys. See you later on for race 2. Et nous, on retourne tout de suite en cabine de commentaires alors qu'on voit un drapeau rouge qui est agité ici sur le circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.